The show? You need a pen? I have one here, right here. I have all the pens you need. Markers, highlighters, pens, X-Acto knives, I have it all.
Papers?
You could use that paper.
You don't need this?
No.
Okay.
I'm expecting a lot of comments tonight, so keep your eyes peeled on your phone.
I will. I will.
And if anything interesting should come up, which it will, I'm sure, you can write on that. What?
Nothing. All right, here I am.
Yeah. You know the answer to the trivia, correct? And a random share giveaway winner.
Right.
Random share giveaway winner.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Hopefully, what's his name?
Who? I know who you mean. The guy wins everything. He wins every week. He's disqualified. I can't have him then. If you or any member of your family has won in the last 30 days, please do not call. Remember they used to say on the radio station?
Not this. Part of it is broken off into nearly.
Okay. Here we go.
All right, I think we're about to go live, or Jordan's going to give me the. Okay.
You're live.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We're live. It's February 1st. We've got a great show for you coming up tonight, so let's get down to the starting line, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. The entire show tonight is going to be devoted to the York Swap Meet and the Mecum Motorcycle Auction. We'll be talking about some of the bikes and some of the people at the York Swap Meet and the crazy money. It went from the sublime to the ridiculous at the Mecum Motorcycle Auction in Las Vegas this past weekend. Stick around. We've got all that and a whole lot more coming up, including trivia. Trivia returns tonight. Get a chance to win that new book from Keith Geisner, Discovering 6 Days. It's like Brokeback Mountain except on motocross bikes. I'm only kidding. It's not like that. Stick around for the trivia. We'll be right back. Got all that and a whole lot more coming up. Everyone, thank you for joining me tonight for this episode of Vintage Motocross Q&A. Thank you, Jordan, Chelsea, and Susie, for helping me put the show together. Thank you, all the viewers at home who have tuned in tonight to see our live show. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, please comment Motion Pro, and we will have a random share giveaway winner a little bit later on. The winner will get this little sticker sheet that comes from VINTCO.com. They're smaller, but they're stickier. VINTCO, keep the ride going. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's going pretty well. You can see all the shows we've done over the past 3 years, including all the interviews I've done as well. Garrett Walsing, Brad Lackey. We've done so many interviews. You can see them all there on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe. You'll get a little alert just like this. Tells you when we're live on YouTube. One of the best ways to watch a show is on the big screen TV. You can watch it while you comment through your phone. Yeah, enjoy it on your big screen TV in 4K, 5K, however many Ks your television is at this point. And you can comment through your phone, and that's a great way to enjoy the show. As always, I want to thank our sponsors, Susie. Motion Pro, VINTCO, Preston Petty Products, Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, and Full Circle Racing. Well, it was January 22nd, just a couple of weekends ago, almost 2 weeks ago, where I was out in beautiful York, Pennsylvania to be a guest once again for the York Swap Meet and the Potomac Vintage Riders. It was absolutely phenomenal. I got some numbers I'm going to tell you about. As I told you the week I left on Wednesday the 18th. I told you it was going to be bigger than better than all the previous years, and you're going to hear the numbers in just a second. But there are a few people that I want to thank along the way. that were there. Jordan. Bill Nazarod to my left in that picture. Bill Nazarod, Mike Slate, the Potomac Vintage Riders. Thank you all so much for inviting me back again this year. I had a fabulous time. The accommodations were excellent. The food for the banquet was second to none. It was really, really good. And I also took this picture intentionally because next to me in that beautiful Harley jacket is a man you often hear me talk about on the show or on my Facebook posts. That's Brian Fedigan of MX Restorations in New York. Brian does all of my paint work. He has for over 13 years now. The crazy thing is that's only the second time I've met Brian Fedigan. I met him once at Terry Good's event in Chicago last September, not this past one, and here at the York Swap Meet. So Brian Fedigan, we often talk on the phone. You do a great job on all my Elsinore tanks. Thank you so much. And it was good to see you in person once again. Brian Fedigan. Who were some other people that were there at the York Swap Meet? Warren Reed. Warren Reed was there, and of course, he had some great stories to tell about all his years aboard factory Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Suzuki. He helped out a lot with Martina, who was selling books, Martina Faltova Cope. And Warren Reed, just a great job and a wonderful ambassador to the sport. Never gets tired of talking to people and telling some great stories. So Warren was also a guest there that weekend of the 22nd. Here's a great picture of Martina Falta, Barry Higgins, and Mrs. Falta. This is Ludmilla Falta, of course, Jaroslav Falta's wife, the late Jaroslav Falta's wife. They were there. They were selling books. They were selling T-shirts, signing autographs. It was an absolutely fantastic time at the York Swap Meet. There was also some wonderful bikes there that we saw, and we'll get to some pictures of those in just a second. Oh, but our sponsor, of course, Paul Standard from Preston Petty Products. We got to sit at him at the table along with Martina Falta, and we just had a really, really great time. Preston Petty Products has some new things coming out. You'll be hearing about them here on the show. And yeah, doing really, really well. Thank you, Paul Standard, for all you do for us here at the show. Now, there was a lot to see at the York Swap Meet. There were so many vendors and clothes for sale, full-size bikes, parts, just a lot going on there. And the facility is absolutely phenomenal. It's well heated. There is a concession stand, and I would highly recommend that everybody go back next year. Now, what I want to talk about right at this point, and Jordan, you can even go to the next picture, is some information that I got from Bill Nazarod about the York Swap Meet, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, Joe, general admission for 2023 were up 550 over the previous year. That's over 30%. 390 vendor spots were sold. 25 additional spots were added this year. So they keep adding vendor spots as it keeps growing, and it's growing every year. This is the third year in a row for vendor sellout. 78 bikes entered the bike show, which looked like a museum all on its own. It had some beautiful street bikes and motocrossers, minis. There was something for everybody. 98 bikes for sale in the bike corral, with many of them being sold in vendor spots as well. Motocrossers, minis. I want to thank Bill Nazarod, Mike Slate, Tom Grimmel, and the over 25 volunteers, Potomac Vintage Riders, for making it what it was. It was absolutely fantastic. And also Dave Kutzko, a fabulous job of keeping things moving during the banquet on Saturday night. He went around with the microphone. He was speaking to different people. And he also did a great job in a little bit of a Q&A session with Martina Faltova Cope. He was asking her questions about the book and different things that she has been working on. And in fact, I do have a copy of it right here. And it's a great time to plug it. There it is, The Stolen Title by Gary Tippings, with the help of Martina Faltova Cope. Get a copy of that today. And what else did Billy Nazarod have to say? Oh, she had her first official book signing. Martina did right there. And yeah, we're going to show a beautiful CZ in just a moment. And yes, Bill Nazarod, I would be happy to come back next year and keep plugging your show on Vintage Motocross Q&A. It's a great bike that was there by Dale Fisher. There's a 1972 Cheney Sachs special award was given by Vintage Motocross Q&A for this bike. If you want to see what that award was, you can go over and look on our page tomorrow. But we gave away 3 awards for some special bikes that were there. This was above and beyond the awards that were given away by the Potomac Vintage Riders. But Dale Fisher, beautiful Cheney Sachs 125. And the bike of the show really was a showstopper. This is Bruce Rounsaville's 1975 Falta CZ 250. Just finished it up a few days before the show. Him and Jim Diebert did a phenomenal job. The details were, I mean, just perfect in every way. A lot of pictures were taken with that bike, and of course, it was wonderful to have it there with Martina Falter and her mom. as sort of a tribute. Yeah, porcupine head, got the ignition, it's got everything on there. This is a gas tank of the Dale Fisher bike I talked to you about a moment ago. Why did I take a picture of this gas tank and put it up again? Because I repaired that tank over 12 years ago for Dale Fisher. And that's the tank right there on that Cheney 125. Real long time ago. But Dale remembers it. The tank still looks good. I polished it, and there it is on a bike. There it is, 72, Sachs Cheney. Keep those questions coming in. Keep any questions you got coming in about the York Swap Meet or anything coming up at the Mecum Motorcycle Auction, and we'll read your questions back if I think they're whether I think they're good or not. I'm going to read them back if I think they're interesting. But there it is. Plenty to see at the York Swap Meet. British motorcycles, Japanese motorcycles. There was all kinds of European bikes, street bikes, trials, some customs. Absolutely phenomenal. Put it on your calendar for next year. The York Swap Meet. You got to be there. Just a fabulous time. VINTCO. VINTCO's got a special going on this week for the shaft assembly for the 13.5-inch air shocks. These are, of course, a replica of the air shocks that were so popular during the 70s. Just $295.95. That's $295.95. It's a replacement shock shaft assembly to Fox VINTCO 13.5-inch air shock. It comes with 2 shock shafts, and they also sell parts separately as well. $295.95 for those shocks. Available from VINTCO.com.
I'm Brock Glover, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeff with Motion Pro, here to introduce you to the Pro Funnel today. Now, the Pro Funnel is a very versatile funnel that makes maintenance tasks on your motorcycle easier, cleaner, and more efficient. Now, as an overview, the Pro Funnel has a 1-liter capacity with clear graduation marks listed in ounces, cc's, as well as all the common premix ratios used for 2-strokes in the power sports industry. Now, diving into the key features of the Pro Funnel, first you have this integrated shutoff valve, which allows you to shut off or meter out the flow of fluid. This ball joint and extended spout allows you to get into tight areas. A powerful magnetic strip is convenient for storage on your toolbox or workbench. And this removable lid keeps dirt and debris out of the funnel. The Pro Funnel has a retail price of $32.99 and can be found at your preferred dealer nationwide, so go get yours today.
Don't forget, Motion Pro has a special only available to Vintage Motocross Q&A viewers. There is a special across the board, 20% off. This week's code is MP, as in Motion Pro 9990. That's MP 9990. Buy all you want. When you go to checkout, you put in that code, you save 20% across the board on everything from Motion Pro. Thank you, Chris Carter, Eric Clay, and everyone at Motion Pro. All right, getting on with the show. We're going to talk now about the Mecum Motorcycle Auction. I saw some prices there that were put up on our other Facebook page, Vintage Motocross Buyers and Sellers Price Guide Group. Bill Masho really took the bull by the horns again this year. Posted a lot of great bikes, mostly motocrossers and off-road enduro bikes. Occasionally, if something's real interesting, maybe a vintage board track bike, Billy puts it up there as well. But I wanted to put this bike up first. It sold for $26,400. It is a Zundap 125, very, very rare and unusual bike, and it was restored by Bill Masho. Bill Masho is on my short list if I were ever to actually pay someone to restore a bike for me personally. Bill Masho would be in about one of 4 people that I would actually pay money to. And it's no reason why. I mean, there's no question why. Look at the details in this bike. It is one of Bill's best bikes I think he's ever restored. Did a great job, and it sold $26,400 at Mecum. Next up on the show. Next up on the show, I mean in the Mecum show. Not on this show particular, but it does happen to fall on next year as well. I thought this bike was the best value for the money that I saw throughout the weekend. It's a 1973 CZ 380. So you got an open class CZ 380, completely rebuilt by Charlie Richardson at CNR Performance, a man who is known to do excellent work. New shocks, relaced wheels, new pipe, new tires, new fender, the right tank. Everything was done to this bike, and I am certain that if you went to have something like this done, if you gave him the bike, you'd probably still drop another $5,000 or $6,000 to have him do it, maybe more. It's not a restoration, but it is a beautiful rebuild. And this bike went for $4,400. I think it was the bargain of the weekend, in my opinion, of bikes that I saw. And I mean, you may disagree, but for me, $4,400 for an open class CZ that was all restored by a reputable vendor like Chris Richardson or Charlie Richardson, $4,400. There it was. So you had one at $26,000, one at $4,400. What do we got next, Jordan? Paul Standard and Preston Petty Products have a great special going on this week. They've got the integrated bracket front fender for just $44.95. These are regularly $53.95. They're $44.95. You got to go to the bargain basement for them on the Preston Petty website. They've got a couple of little blemishes from where it was separated from the mold. They work perfectly though, and they're white. Good for your Kawasaki's, good for your Yamahas. $44.95 this week at Preston Petty Products. And don't forget, they're still looking for dealers. They're still looking for dealers anywhere in the country. If you've got a retail outlet or however you sell retail, get a hold of Paul Standard. He will make you a dealer. Preston Petty Products, the legend continues. Another interesting bike I saw come across the board this week was, this is a Jay Hall restoration. And why I say it's a Jay Hall restoration is because Jay Hall watches the show. We do communicate on Facebook from time to time. He's even given us some videos on how to repair pipes going way back when we first got the show started. But Jay is a stickler for details, and he didn't sell this bike. He sold it to someone else at some point, and then this person went and put it up for sale at the Mecum auction, $19,250. And that was a 1976 Suzuki RM250. The details were phenomenal. Everything was done the way you would expect a Jay Hall bike to come out. And it showed in the price, $19,200. Beautiful job, Jay. Congratulations to whoever bought that bike. $19,200. This was also there. I think it was a Paul Griffin bike. It is a 1975 Mako 250. It went for $11,000. Very, very nicely done. Had some wheelsmith modifications to it. A really, really nice, well, rebuilt racer. But I mean, with all the right stuff on it for $11,000, I thought it was a good value as well. It is a 250, but it does have some wheelsmith mods, and it doesn't look like it was ever raced to me. And Paul Griffin, Paul Griffin does some beautiful work on the old Makos too. So $11,000 for that 250 Mako. And 77 Jawa 350, very rare international 6-day trials bike. These very seldom do you see these bikes for sale. $27,000. I could see that for the Suzuki, and I could see $27,000 for this 77 Jawa 350. No doubt about it. Don't forget, keep your comments coming. Whether you find the prices reasonable, whether you find them ridiculous, Susie will read back to me what your comments are, and we can have a little further dialogue on that. Here's a bike that didn't quite sit well with me, and I'll tell you why. This bike sold for $8,250 without an engine. Yes, it is a CZ twin pipe, and they do go. It's a twin pipe 360 frame, and supposedly, and I believe it, the frame was NOS. Everything on the bike was NOS. This bike did belong to Jim Keaton. The Jim Keaton collection went up for sale. Jim Keaton sadly passed away and was never able to complete the bike, but I understand for a period of time, he was collecting NOS CZ twin pipe 360 parts. $8,250, I don't know. You look closer at the bike if you go to the Vintage Motocross buyers and sellers price guide page. The wheels are rusty. There's only one shock on the bike. The tank has got some scratches on it. The handlebars are old and tired. The forks have some pitting on it. I'm not sure why somebody paid $8,250 unless at home in the box they have two brand new twin pipes and a CZ360 twin port engine. $8,250 I thought was a little rich for the bike. I get it. It's NOS, but when you look close, the devil is in the details. There's some parts missing. I don't know. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Next. Trivia returns, and we have that book by Keith Geisner I talked about a little bit earlier in the show, Discovering 6 Days. Absolutely fabulous book, and we've been giving them away here. We've got 2 left. I think this one and 1 more. So we are going to be giving away that book to someone who could, this is a call-in contest too, so if you want to call in Here is the question. Who am I? I am in the AMA Hall of Fame. I was the first American to have a factory sponsorship. I'll say it again. I was the first American to have a factory sponsorship. I finished first American in the 1968 Pepperell Inter-Am. I took a 5th place, and that's when motocross was in its infancy in America, and that field was chock full of some heavy hitter European guys from Torsten Hallman to Joel Robert and a few others. But this guy took a 5th. I raced for Yankee Motorcycle Company as well as Mako and CZ. I owned a very successful KTM dealership for over 28 years. Who am I? It's calling contest 925-234-8181. That's 925-234-8181. Voluptuous and beautiful operators are standing by waiting for your call. 925-234-8181. Who am I? Full circle. My buddy, Tom McAllister. He's running some great specials up there. He had this one going for a while, and he keeps running it because it works so well. Powder coating hubs, just $50 a hub. $10 more, he'll do the backing plate as well. That is for satin and gloss black finish. They've got brake plates for CZs for just $179. And if you don't want the logo on there, just $169. $169 or $179 from Full Circle Racing. Thank you, Tom McAllister, for all you do for us at the show, all you've done for me with the wheels you've built for me, and all you do for vintage motocross throughout the Northwest. Full Circle Racing Limited. And we will move on with some more of the auction results from. Now wait a minute, though. Let me ask Jordan. Hey, Jordan. Jordan, can we go on with the trivia contest right now before we go into the next bike from Mako?
Yeah.
Okay. This guy's on speaker? Yeah. This is Joe Abadi. You're live on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Who am I speaking to?
You got
Who am I speaking to?
Killer Kadowski.
Donald. Unbelievable. All right. So this was your era, Don. And who was the guy I was talking about? He rode for Mako. He rode for Yankee. He was the first American or the top American in Pepperell. Who's the guy?
Barry Higgins.
Barry Higgins is the answer. Don Killer Kadowski. Thank you for calling, Don. And regards to Denise, Susie will get your address and we'll get you that book by Keith Geisner, Discovering 6 Days.
Appreciate it. Love your show.
Thank you, Don. Yes, and the answer was Barry Higgins. Barry Higgins was there last weekend at the York Swap Meet, told some good stories, had a lot of good things going on there, and, of course, a beautiful picture with Martina Falta and her mom. Barry Higgins is the answer to tonight's trivia contest. Don Kadowski was the winner. Now we're going to get on with some more craziness from the Mako motorcycle auction. This is a 1981 Honda RC 500. This bike did belong to Andre Malherbe, and according to the description that was put into it for the auction, Honda Factory Works Racing motorcycle raced by 3-time FIM World Champion Andre Malherbe, won the 81 World Motocross Championship. Factory Works suspension, Factory Works engine, VIN number RC500 110481, which makes sense. And he goes on to talk a little bit more about Andre Malherbe and his and him winning 3 world championships. Now, Lee Fabry was on the ground in Vegas. So was Paul Griffin, 2 guys I know who can be trusted with a description of a bike, and they know what they're looking at. Both of them confirmed with me that it was, in fact, Andre Malherbe's bike. This bike sold for $84,700. $84,700. I heard through the grapevine, and a really, really good grapevine connection that I have, and I think I read it afterward too, that the seller of this bike lost about $50,000 from what he paid for it some time ago. I'm not sure why it popped up so early after Andre Malherbe's death, which just happened a couple of months ago. But this bike did show up at the Mako motorcycle auction. I thought it went well short of what it should have gone for, $84,700. for an authentic RC 500 from a 3-time world champion. That's the way it went. What do we got next, Jordan? Here's a bike that, this bike was built by Masafumi Haraguchi from Japan, and it sold for $6,600. If you know anything and you follow the Honda Elsinores, this is a replica of the prototype, probably from 1971 or 72, professionally restored in Japan. This is a 335D replica, handcrafted aluminum tank pipe, brake stay aluminum side plates, modified both crankcases to look like the original did. It's got the 335X bracing on the front forks. It's got the correct triple trees and some other really beautiful details that go into this bike. No, it is not an authentic prototype Honda, but the details and the time that went into this bike, it shocks me that someone bought this bike for just $6,600 or that it only went for $6,600. If you go into, I forget what book it is, I think it's one of Terry Good's books, he's got pictures of this bike in there, or maybe it's on his page. Either way, the fit and the finish and the details and the colors are exact to the way a real 335D looked. This bike went for only $6,600. I thought that was a bargain, even if it was a replica. I mean, look what happened to Cobras and Cobra replicas. Anyway, let's move on. Things are still moving forward at the International Motocross Museum. You can still support them by going over to their website, internationalmotocrossmuseum.org. You can buy some shirts, hats. There's all sorts of things. Posters, beautiful posters over there. You can still support the International Motocross Museum. Getting back to some of the insanity that has happened last weekend at the Mika Motorcycle Auction, this Harley MX250 sold for $19,800. Why, I have no idea. Listen to this description, which isn't even close to being correct. 1 of 500 built. There were over 1,100 built. New, never used. Looks like somebody used it for something and then decided to polish and chrome and replate and do all kinds of things to it to me. But what do I know? I'm only at this for 25 years. It includes promotional literature. Bike has been on display since new. Okay. And all comes with the original bill of sale and MSO. Somebody spent a lot of time and money to make this bike wrong and still managed to get $19,800 out of it. The rims are not supposed to be gold. They're supposed to be silver. The pipe is not supposed to be nickel plated or chrome plated, whatever it is. It's supposed to be black. And there is just a host of other things that are wrong with this bike. And yet someone under the ether or under a martini, I don't know, paid $19,800 for it. But you left that Honda replica on the floor at $6,600. Anyway, big mistake, I think, at $19,800. We're going to take a commercial break, which is good because my head is about to explode. We'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be back with tonight's random share giveaway winner too.
VINTCO, who already has a full line of vintage parts, now has air shocks that are an exact duplicate of the original air shocks so popular in the late 70s. So whether you're looking to build a full racer or museum showpiece, these shocks will give you that incredible 70s look and improve your bike's performance. These new air shocks are fully rebuildable with VINTCO rebuild kits, and all shocks are hand assembled in the USA with all new components. Every component is brand new. Just like the originals, our air shocks are adjustable with 2 chambers, high and low pressure, giving you tremendous flexibility for settings of your bike suspension. The VINTCO air shocks come fully assembled and ready for installation. Just add air or nitrogen. The kits include the manual and spacers. Visit VINTCO.com to check out the air shocks and all that VINTCO has to offer to help you get back on track and to keep that ride going.
Okay, we are back, and as promised, I want to give you tonight's random share giveaway winner. It is Paul Parkinson Sr. Paul Parkinson Sr., you are tonight's random share giveaway winner. Get a hold of us, and we'll get you a beautiful little sticker sheet like this, compliments of VINTCO.com. VINTCO, keep the ride going. Paul Parkinson Sr. Well, let's get back to the auction results, Jordan, and don't forget, keep those comments coming in. I'm interested in hearing them. Here is a bike I thought was absolutely on the money in every way, shape, and form. 1976 Yamaha YZ125 with an authentic Shinobi water-cooled kit on it. This bike was brought there by either Chris or Dylan Lucas, the Lucas family collection. Very rare Shinobi water-cooled kit, highly detailed build. Rebuilt motor with an HPT ignition, custom white paint, translucent plastic, all new controls, hard to find OEM custom parts were used in this bike, has not been run since the rebuild. $12,100. I thought it was really, really a good deal. I would imagine that kit alone would go for close to $3,000. And to do an engine job on a YZ125C, all new parts, bearings, spacers, pistons, everything, fresh bore, who knows what else. Probably another $1,000. That's $4,000 right there. Another $3,500, $4,000 for a YZ125C that's worthy of restoration. Plus you got the paint, tires, rims, and the Lucas expertise that goes along with that. Got yourself a nice bike there for $12,100. Thought it was right there on the money. Good job, Lucas family. The most insane thing I had seen all weekend, a 1974 Bultaco Persang 360 for $44,000. How much glue do you have to sniff to pay $44,000 for a Bultaco? In fact, this guy bought 3 Bultacos, including this one, for a total of over $107,000. I don't know whether he was in a contest or what his problem is. I guess he really has no problem. I shouldn't say the guy has a problem. He spent $107,000 on about, I don't know, $35,000 worth of bikes. I don't know what it was, but $44,000 for a Bultaco is, I don't know. Maybe he was buying it in pesos or something. I don't know. I don't know. But $44,000 is absurd. Another one of my favorites from the weekend from the Lucas family collection. I thought it was a bargain at $11,000. 1974 Honda CR250. Restored with extensive OEM parts, rebuilt 250cc engine. It did have a beautiful paint finish on it. The tank was correct. It's been in a private collection its whole time. I've seen this bike before. We have featured it on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Everything about the bike is truly first class, sold for $11,000. You were very, very generous, Lucas, Dylan Lucas. Yeah, letting that bike go for $11,000. But hey, you know, you sold the Yamaha too, and you guys had a Husky, a titanium frame Husky that went for $19,000. I didn't have that on the show this week because we could talk about bikes from now until Friday. But yeah, $11,000. I thought somebody got a really, really great deal. $11,000 right there. We do have some announcements coming up because I can't talk anymore about any of the bikes that were sold at the Mecum Motorcycle Auction last weekend. I'm just getting verklempt, as they say in New York. Thank you, Lucas family, for being there at the auction this weekend and wearing a Vintage Motocross Q&A sweatshirt and bringing your coffee cups with you as well. It's very, very nice of you, and thank you for sending in bikes to the show all the time and supporting us any way you can. Joe Ravello. Man who was very, very generous, as you may recall, with the untimely passing of Marty and Nancy Smith. Joe Ravello from Taco Mini Bike did put up a bike for auction with all the proceeds going to the family, and that did happen. There has been another tragedy in one of our legendary motocrossers' families, and that is Johnny O'Mara. Johnny O'Mara suddenly lost a brother-in-law not too long ago, leaves behind a wife and 3 children. Joe Ravello stepping up to the plate again with another Taco mini bike that will go up for auction. Look for the video and look for more information on this in the coming weeks. Joe Ravello, thank you again. And Johnny O'Mara, our condolences to you and your family. Can-Am 50th reunion is coming up. That is happening in August 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. I will be there. And it's got anything to do with Can-Am. Jimmy Ellis will be there, Gary Jones, Marty Tripes. I think Dennis Mahan will be there. A host, anybody that had anything to do with Can-Am in the past 50 years is going to be there. You're going to see every bike that Can-Am ever made. You're going to see mechanics, designers. Jeff Smith will be there. It's going to be a great time, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. It was really, really great spending time with John Lake at the York Swap Meet. We did talk a little bit about this reunion that's coming up. Put it on your calendar. Get your passports ready too. Figure out a way to get your bike to go over the border. And I also understand it's been moved 2 hours closer to the U.S.-Canadian border at a place called Gopher Dunes. Gopher Dunes is the new location of the Can-Am 50th Festival. Got a race coming up March 18th and 19th. It is an ARMA race. It is in Chrome, California at Burroughs Ranch. Trials, cross country, and motocross. Jordan will be there, and I understand Fritz Gunther will be there. And March, I'm not going out till April 1st. I've traveled too much in the past 6 months. I'm going no place till the Trailblazers on April 1st. I'm tired of talking. Tammy Greenhill's got a race coming up that's happening this weekend, Sunday, February 15th, the Old School Scrambles group at Glen Helen. I think they run that on the track, so your bladder mesh doesn't come loose from all those big jumps.
Really?
Yeah. Finish line is coming up next. It's brought to you by Racer X. Here it is. Racer X, one of the finest motocross publications on your newsstand now. Also available online. Thank you, Davey Coombs, Scott Wallenberg, everyone at Racer X. Vintage Motocross t-shirts and hoodies are still available, just $19.99. They come in gray and white. For a few bucks more, you get yourself a hoodie, perfect for this time of the year. Follow the link in the show description. Vintage Motocross opportunities to be a sponsor is still available. Got a new sponsor coming up in the very, very near future. In fact, I almost let it go tonight, but we're still working out a few details. Definitely by next Wednesday, you will know more about our new sponsor. And in the meantime, thank you, Motion Pro VINTCO, Full Circle, Preston Petty Products, and Racer X, the National Motocross Museum, and all of our sponsors who have helped us over the years that saw their businesses grow, had to take a little bit of a break maybe, but some say they want to come back, and that includes AMSOIL, Nightmare Racing, Northwest Mako CZ. We've had so many great ones, and we appreciate that. In the meantime,
You want to see if there's any comments?
I do want to hear some comments, Susie. That was going to be the next thing I asked you. Who has a comment?
Everybody pretty much said, like Dave Tice said, absolute insanity.
Right?
Philip Liberty, agree.
Yeah, I mean, some things made sense. A Honda for 11,000 to 250, that made sense. 19,000 and change for the an incorrectly rebuilt, restored Harley Davidson was insanity, and so was a Bultaco for 44,000. I've seen some other ones that were a bit out of line too, but I can't go on. You know, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, there's 83 comments. I don't know why I can't see all of them.
Well, keep the comments coming, and if you want to see the majority of the auction results, go to our other page on Facebook, Vintage Motocross Buyers and Sellers Price Guide page, and you'll be able to see a lot of the results thanks to our good buddy, Bill Masho. In the meantime, thank you, Paul Parkinsons. You are tonight's random share giveaway winner. Don Kadowski, a fountain of information that you are, knew what tonight's trivia question was. It was, of course, Barry Higgins. Barry Higgins. Don't forget the Martina book, The Stolen Title. You can get that online, falterbook.com. Discovering 6 days. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show tonight. And we will see you soon on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Come on, Gino.
What a hand.
Here he is.